Last time I said adding new weapons is such a complex process it deserves an entire video of its own. This is it. This is the video. Enjoy. For today's topic, I decided we're gonna implement the Desert Eagle from Opposing Force, the obviously superior expansion. Coincidentally, Opposing the bar is coming soon. Nice. Anyway, we gotta go through several things. We gotta base this weapon off of another weapon, that is the Glock in this case. I feel it's, we're familiar with it so far from the last video, and I think it's an okay base for firearms. And also because it's just kind of hard to go from scratch. I don't want to throw you into that pit just yet. Next, we're gonna update the model paths and animations so that it actually uses the Desert Eagle model file, And finally, we're gonna set up client-side predictions so it can actually work properly. Alright, so let's do this one by one, and for the first time in the series, I am letting myself go entirely unscripted. Be warned, I will sound a little bit different. Alright, so we're gonna right-click the project and add a new, CPP file. Call it Deagle or whatever you will. Just make sure to put it in the DLLs folder, not in the projects folder. That's a major sin some people make. I used to make it too, but it's fine. Alright, now, so what we're gonna do is, we're gonna go over to Glock CPP, Control A, and then Control V here. Delete the Glock ammo pickup, because we're probably not gonna use that here. We're not gonna introduce any new ammo types or anything, we're just gonna use our own. And we're gonna right-click on C-Glock and find where it's defined. So as you can see in weapons.h we have the C-Glock class. We're going to copy it and the animation enum. So we're going to rename that to C Desert Eagle and rename this to Deagle. You know the drill. Just rename everything to Deagle and we'll be making some modifications. Now the Deagle doesn't have secondary fire, so we're just going to leave this one here and that's going to be it. We could also rename Glock Fire to Deagle Fire and that's going to be roughly it. Now in the CPP file we're going to replace all of the references to C-Glock to our new class, C Desert Eagle. And we also got to change the class name when we, put the thing in the map editor. Now this weapon Glock thingy, that's the weapon ID, and each weapon has a unique one, so we're going to add a new one basically. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom and put weapon Deagle. I do this because I want to separate what belongs to Valve and what belongs to us. Alright, so we fix up the firing event because we're using a different one. Let's do deagle.sc because why not? And yes, we also got to configure the max ammo and stuff like that. So right click that and rename it to Deagle. And I think 50 AE has a capacity of 7 bullets in the mag, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can also change the clip to mag if you want. But let's stay consistent with the SDK for now. And yeah, let's also configure the weight. So the weight doesn't have anything to do with the weapon itself. It's more like a weight for auto switching. So because the Deagle is a more powerful, packs a greater punch, let's add it up to 15. That's gonna be fine. Oh yeah, so slots and positions. So we're gonna need to change the position of the weapon in the weapon selector. So position is the vertical position and slot is the horizontal actually no, it's the other way around. So, or is it? It's actually no. So slot is the horizontal one, position is the vertical one. The Python uses position 1, which means it's going to be second from top, and we're going to put 2 for the Deagle, so it's third from top. You'll see this in-game. You can experiment with this on your own. And yeah, let's also remove this class name thingy right here. So this was only added because the Glock had 2 class names, 9mm handgun and weapon Glock. Oh yeah, let's also change the default, give value, because, yeah. That's what the weapon is going to give to you when you pick it up. And let's also replace the models. But first, let's actually find out the name of the models. We're going to go to Gearbox, Models, by the time I find it. And WW or V Desert Eagle, there we go. So we're just gonna Desert_Eagle and replace everything in this document, not in the project. Be careful with that. Let's rename this to Deagle Fire just to fix up all the errors, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, the events. We also gotta get rid of those. And there we go. That's pretty much it. So I think, oh yeah, we also gotta do these idle animations. Yeah, so there is one thing about these animations, right? So the Deagle might have different animations than the Glock. So let's actually open up the file. Yeah, the Desert Eagle, there we go. And let's take a look at its sequence, and there we go, yeah, just as I thought. So it has 5 idle animations, not 3 of them. So let's just do that real quick, and it doesn't have an add silencer animation. So let's get rid of that, and that's pretty much it. The last thing to do, I suppose, is to I guess I could leave this as homework for you. Just gonna get rid of this multiplication by 0 because it's unnecessary. And yeah, one more thing, we gotta make sure the length of the animation is correct. So we do that by dividing the number of frames by the frame rate. So in this case, 76 by 30. And for idle 2, that's gonna be hold on a second. Right. 61 by 24, yep. And for idle 3, that would be 50 by 30. Yeah, so that's roughly it. Now, what remains, what you could do is use 0.2 here, 0.4 here, 0.6, 0.8, and that way you're gonna cover all of the 5 idle animations. And that's about it. Now, let's actually pre-cache the weapons. So weapons are pre-cached in a pretty special way, alright? So they're done when the map kind of loads. And they're done in W precache in weapons.cpp. So as you can see that there's all the weapons here. Let's just copy the Glock, rename it to Deagle, and there we go. Also, I really hate it when everything is in lowercase, it's not capitalized properly. I'm just gonna do this all real quick right here, right now. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them. I can sleep easy now. That's so nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all of the stuff you gotta do on the server side to actually add a weapon into the mod. Alright, so the last thing we gotta do is actually copy the weapon to the client side, because remember, weapons are networked entities. So this means they're oh, that was a mistake, I didn't mean add item, I meant existing item. So that this can work properly, you're gonna add the weapon to the client side, and that's pretty much it. So what remains now is to actually copy the weapon models to our mod, as well as the events. So let's create the folders real quick. Let's just do a quick search for Desert Eagle, because it's easier that way, and we just copy all of them. And there you go. Now, the next thing to do would be to add the event. So we can just create an empty text file and name it deagle.sc. Now, if we open up glock.sc from the Valve folder, you'll actually see this looks like some kind of script, and Valve indeed planned to create a scripting language for this, but they ran out of time. Now, the last thing we need is actually sprite sheet info. So you're going to go to the sprites folder, in this case in Valve, and we're going to scroll down until we see these weapon txt files and just copy weapon 9mm handgun. So you're going to use the Glock sprites and rename it to weapon Deagle. It has to match the class name of the weapon. As you can see, it's a simple text file. It just contains some coordinates, like take up those and those pixels from the sprite sheet. And that's pretty much it. So let's actually compile this and launch the mod. After I give myself the Deagle, it should be all pre-cached and fine, and indeed it works, but as you can see we're using the Glock sprites, and that's perfectly fine. That's exactly what we did right now. But if you try firing it, something funny is going to happen. There is no firing animation. There's also no reload animation either. There's no animations. So if we disable CLLW, which is a CR that controls whether or not weapons are simulated on the client, this way they're entirely simulated on the server. So the thing we forgot to actually do is to actually link the deagle.sc event to some client-side function in the event system. I explained it in the last video, and we also got to do the rest of the client-side prediction shenanigans. So we're going to go to evhldm.cpp, scroll all the way down until you find evfireglock1, and we're going to first of all find where it's declared, and then we're going to rename it to deagle. The name doesn't really matter, it just needs to be linked to the file, well, to the same file as you would expect on the server side. Now let's copy the function itself. It's normally not good to just copy functions like this. It's not a good practice, but it makes the tutorial a bit easier, and it's just how Val did it, so let's just copy them for now. We're also going to replace all of the Glock stuff with the deagle stuff. You may also want to replace the sound. I'm not going to do that here. Now, let's find where it's actually hooked up to the file. And it's right here in game hook events in HL event CPP. So copy the line, rename things as needed, and you're done. We also see a comment from Valve over here. So they're saying, yeah, we were planning to do a scripting system, but we ran out of time. Now, the next thing we got to do is client-side prediction. So if we find all references, notice how there's so many references on the server side, but there's one on the client side. That is actually inside a part of the client-side prediction system. We just got to copy this stuff, and we're going to now find the references to Glock. Alright? Now, go in there and basically every time see a reference to the Glock, just copy it and rename stuff. And that's the general kind of workflow. So you see something, you copy it, and then you rename it. And that's generally the workflow of adding new weapons to Half-Life. And if we actually boot it up, and we see the thing in game now, it works perfectly fine. Shots are being fired, there are decals on the floor, there's all kinds of effects, shells. It's using the Glock sound. That's up to you. You gotta copy the deagle sound, you gotta pre-cache it, you gotta do all these other things, but I think you get the idea by now. And that's pretty much it regarding creating new weapons in Half-Life. You can kinda stop watching now, but I wouldn't recommend just yet. See, if you'd also like to know how to automate the client-side prediction stuff, so you don't have to visit a bunch of CPP files, I'm also gonna throw this in. Half-Life BetterWeapons SDK. Yes, that's literally the name. You may think, oh, I should just download that SDK and put my code over it, but no. I'm going to show you how to integrate the very changes this SDK makes, because it's actually rather small and it's easy to integrate into your own. So yeah, let's go through that as well. So yeah, this is basically what a commit looks like. So it's basically a bunch of pluses and minuses. It's the green stuff is what's added and the red stuff is what's deleted. So we're going to start off by going to hlbaseentity.cpp. So one way to do it is to actually search for it in Visual Studio, or, use the file search in your other preferred IDE. So let's scroll down to line, 60 something. 70, yeah. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to basically insert it after the line. Just to actually make sure that the signature is the same return type, the same parameters. Yeah, it's fine. Let's remove the old one then. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's go to weapons.cpp next. Alright, so that's going to be right below. Yeah, I know from experience that they're in the same folder. Alright, so we need to replace this line. So it's going to be ev2 entities, and there we go, max weapons +1. The +1 is for the player entity, it says in the comment. Alright, so the weapon array already uses max weapons, and that's very good. Alright, next thing to do is to remove all these, placeholder entities. Alright, we're going to put this function here, pvalloc and private data. Alright. Oh no, this one is a bit messed up. So Git can sometimes mess. So we're just gonna copy this function below. So let's delete this as well. We're just gonna delete the entirety of that old function layer. So Git sometimes messes things up, and we get this incoherent mess, like you don't know what's what. But my advice here is to just follow the green ones and the neutral ones, alright? So we're gonna, so we're over with that function. Now we got to do another one, and we're gonna paste only the green bits. Also, because this is an unknown class for now, we're just gonna forward declare it, alright? Unreal Engine 4 style. We're going to copy these lines of code here because they're green and are neutral. So basically just avoid the color red when you're in a mixed scenario like this, if you get what I'm saying. So when you're copying these lines, just follow the green and neutral ones. I feel like I'm missing something here, but let's continue. So, oh yeah, because HUD prep entity was changed, it's a different function now. Let's also remove all of this stuff. We don't need it anymore. That's the beauty of this. We're also gonna remove this entire switch case thingy, like we're not gonna need it. Oh, that's what I'm missing, of course. Yeah, so let's just put this, where was it? I kinda got lost again. I mean, this usually happens to me, I always get lost. Oh, yeah, it's exactly here. Good. So let's... Oh yeah, here's a for loop. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So now let's go here. Yeah, it has something like that. Alright. And now we just, do this. So we just select the weapon from the array instead of doing this silly switch case thingy. Alright. That's basically it for this part. So what remains is mostly the Python's laser dot thingy. Well, scope, whatever. It's a body group of some sorts. The old code was using gPython directly. So what we gotta do, because we're in a different system here, you can clearly say that the code on Git, like GitHub there, differs. We can probably check the current weapon. And yeah, it's looking for 357. I'm just not sure what the default state of the body is, but honestly, I'm not gonna bother with that at the moment. So let's just go for, the weapon pointer and change its body to, well, if it's multiplayer, it's gonna be 1, otherwise it's gonna be 0, so yeah. I think that's probably gonna work. I'm not sure. I don't really care, honestly. Yeah, that's just how I approach things. Also, I don't like the fact that there's a lot of weapon-specific code and like a place which is supposed to be generic-ish, but whatever. Yeah, so the next changes we gotta do is convert all of this link entity to class stuff into link weapon to class. We're not gonna do that yet. Instead, let's first implement the weapons registry itself. So that's gonna be in the weapons header. So let's scroll. Well, first of all, we're going to include the cassert library. Assertions, you're probably going to learn about them eventually, but yeah, you'll know what if you know, you know. If you don't, well, it's just a way to make sure, a value is right, basically. Runtime validation. And there you go. So you just copy paste that and it's done. Basically, well, it's almost done. We also gotta implement, so there's like a static variable in there. So we're gonna go to weapons shared and actually define that variable there so that the compiler doesn't, complain about it. And yeah, it's set to null here. You could change it to null pointer. I was just, quickly copy pasting here. I couldn't really bother. And, oh, right, so the weapon precaching stuff, in weapons.cpp needs to be taken care of. So we are no longer, manually precaching them all. Instead, we have, all of their class names inside the weapon registry. So we are going to... Yeah, let's remove, all of these things now. Let's get that done real quick, super speed mode. Hell yeah, let's go. And there you go. Alright, now we just copy this and paste, and there we go. What the weapon registry actually is it's a linked list. Done at, well, half compile time. When the DLL loads, all of these weapon classes are loaded into this linked list, so we have access to metadata about them, basically. And that's a really cool thing. You can use this so much to your advantage. And now the last part is, I suppose, replacing link entity to class with link weapon to class. Make sure to actually, in the case of weapons with duplicate class names, you are going to keep link entity to class for, say, weapon Glock and weapon MP5, but 9mm handgun, 9mm AR, 357, that is going to become link weapon to class. Because that's the one being used internally. Alright, I hope you get what I'm saying. We have an error here. No matching operator for... oh, I see what's going on. Yeah. So in one of the updates to Half-Life Update SDK, one of the new operators was actually removed. If you don't know about it, just read about it on c++.com or whatever else. But just so you know, C-Base Entity has its own new operator, and in the past, it had the problem is I cannot find it anywhere in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually find it in the code of this repository, because it's from 2019 and it had it back then. Oh, and there it is. So what we're going to do, so this is what C-Base Entity used to have until it got removed at some point due to code cleanliness reasons or being a proper implementation, I don't know. But we're going to put it back here. Sorry, Solo Killer, I'm just doing this to get done with this ASAP. Didn't really prepare all that much for this part. But yeah, as you can see, that part works now, but I clearly missed something over here. What did I miss? I guess I missed some variable. I don't know where it is, though. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Item info. That's... I guess I earlier forgot to, check it or something. I don't know. If we compile the thing and, try it out now, it should work. So let's boot up Steam and boot up the game, well, the mod, actually. And indeed, it works perfectly fine. So all of the weapons are automatically pre-cached now, and they all seem to work perfectly fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Goodness gracious, I'm finally done recording this thing. This took so long. Do you know how many retries this took? It's insane. And there, this is probably the longest video yet, but it was quite necessary before we could move on to the next part. See, in September I will be taking a look at some of your weapon ideas, maybe doing 3 or 4 ideas per video. We will see. For the next video I plan to do hitscan weapons. The one after might be about projectile-based weapons, and you get the idea. You may expect a format similar to this one, that is me going kinda unscripted and just showing stuff step by step, and it's also gonna be approximately as long as this one. I do believe that way it provides more educational value, even if it's honestly less entertaining. That ain't the focus anyway. But yeah, until then, happy programming.